Family, what's going on? It's Kyle Henderson of BAMA Football on YouTube. Thanks for being a part of our Week 3 coverage. We start off with the injury report regarding Jam Miller. Now, Coach Kalen DeBoer said on Monday that he is day-to-day. So you look at the Alabama running back room, and I'll go full screen so you can see the room at a glance. Hasn't it been pleasantly surprising to see how talented and how productive that Kevin Riley has been? Even offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb said on Monday that he's been doing work. You look at these two guys to the right, redshirt freshman, Kevin Riley, right out of Tuscaloosa County High School, right? And you got A.K. Deere. These guys looked fantastic against Louisiana Monroe. I understand the level of competition, but Kevin Riley also looked really good against Florida State. So on the season, Kevin Riley, 16 carries, 100 yards, and A.K. Deere, 5 carries for 76. Of course, 57 of that was from a big run against Monroe in Week 2. Now, the question is, does Jam Miller, if he's good to go, does he play this weekend against Wisconsin? Well, it'll be interesting to see. I think one note that I'd like to point out is that Wisconsin right now at this current point in time has the 4th best run defense in the entire country. Now, they're allowing 33 yards per game. I get it. They haven't really played anybody themselves, but still, it is what it is. Do you think inside the comment box that Jam Miller should play, or do you think that you hold him out of this weekend? Because the following weekend, Alabama has an open week in Week 4 before that big game against Georgia, which will be their opening game in the SEC. Any other takeaways from Richard Young, Daniel Hill, or Dre Washington? Look, Richard Young has clearly been the starter at running back, but Kevin Riley has been earning the headlines based off his play and performance. Who else? I've been asking this a couple times. Who do you think that he is very comparable to, if any, running backs? I've heard Yeldon. I'd like to hear from you inside the comment box regarding the running back. So day-to-day on Jam Miller. Now, let's also talk about the Alabama wide receivers. Going into this weekend, I believe that Ryan Williams is also day-to-day after concussion protocols. If, any of the injuries out there, he's probably ready to go this Saturday, and you'll see him against Wisconsin if I had to wager, right? So you have the big three right here. You have Ryan Williams, Isaiah Horton, and Germie Bernard. But my question is, because we already figured out how Ryan Williams fares in the slot, right? There was probably an experiment that we didn't like. So you look to a player like this, Lotzeir Brooks. Does he play in the slot? Does someone else play in the slot? Now, I will say with Lotzeir Brooks, he looked ultra talented, right? I think he's a player that is very similar to Jalen Waddle, which is a really big comparison. I get it, but it is what it is. I mean, the guy looked electric with the football in his hands. 4 catches for 58 yards, and he also does other things well when the ball's not coming to him, right? Downfield, getting stock blocks. This guy is literally everywhere. Very high in Lotzeir Brooks, as we expected, right? Cole Adams, straight up, he is productive. You put him on the field, he's going to generate stats. That's just how it operates. 3 catches, 48 yards, even a touchdown against Louisiana Monroe. Haven't seen too much of Rico Scott. Saw a little bit of him in Week 2. He has 5 catches, 53 yards. And then Jalen Hell, I believe he got on the field against Florida State. But still kind of waiting on some productivity from Jalen Hell. Do you think that Ryan Williams will be moved to the outside going forward? And what does that do for some of these other guys? Now, head football coach Kalen DeBoer said that Germie Bernard can go to the slot. He can also work the perimeter. Same thing with most of his wide receivers. And I think that's the great thing about the Alabama wide receivers is they are so versatile. So let me know what you think, where you're going to see Ryan Williams. And if you're out there and you've sold Ryan Williams, don't stop. Like, he's going to get his. I get it. We're still waiting on a big breakout performance from him. It'll come. And he has still tons of playmaking ability. Don't sleep on Ryan Williams. Don't forget who Hollywood is. We also want to talk about this. This is very interesting. So the Alabama starting offensive line right now consists of Proctor, Dewberry, Parker Brailsford, Gino Vandermark, and Wilkin Formby. Now on Monday, a reporter asked offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb if straight up Michael Carroll is in competition with Wilkin Formby at the right tackle position. I thought, out of the good headlines that came out of Monday's press conference, that was very notable. And he said, yeah, there certainly is. Now, there wasn't a lot of opportunities for Michael Carroll against Louisiana Monroe. In fact, he came in, I believe he had under 30 snaps, but his Pro Football Focus grade in pass block was 76.8. I think we also have to take into the account of the quality of competition that they faced. Now, I've been saying this, after Week 1 and Week 2. I understand the abundance of offensive weapons. I understand the quarterback level of play. What Ty did was ridiculous, 17-17. Defense, yeah, they did take a step forward. But if there's a group that I'm still cautiously optimistic about, it's probably the defense as a whole, but probably the offensive line. I think there's still question marks about Caden Proctor and his overall level of play. Cam Dewberry, he did well in week 2. He was actually named Player of the Week. Parker Brailsford, I think he might be one of the best centers in the country. I really do. Gino Vandermark has proved he's versatile. But do we have an issue right here? And is there a competition for this position? It sounds like it. And if Michael Carroll, who looked pretty good at right tackle, maybe you're starting to see some movement there with some competition. There's always competition at this level of play, so don't be surprised to hear people talking about competition, just something that we will watch going forward. Let's talk about the Alabama defense. Now, during Monday's press conference, defensive coordinator Kane Wommack came up to the podium, and the first thing he said that the execution is still not good enough. That's following a shutout. I like that quote, and he understands who they played. They took a step forward, but it's still not at the highest level, right? There's still things that they have to work on. In fact, here's a stat that I think is very interesting, and that's point number 2. The Tide ranks 102 in rush defense after 2 games. Now, that is not the standard, clearly. Louisiana Monroe, they weren't going to do anything. But when you go further along in the schedule, there's plenty of teams that I think see Alabama's defense and feel that they can run the ball effectively against Kane Wommack's scheme, against Alabama's defensive line, linebackers, etc. And I think that's still a way, if you want to know the truth, to beat Alabama football is to play time of possession and to run the football and probably get them out of Bryant-Denny Stadium. By the way, Coach Kalen DeBoer is undefeated at Bryant-Denny Stadium at this point in time. This is also interesting as well. The Tide also has just 1 quarterback sack, which isn't by the linebackers. It's actually by a safety in Keon Sabb through the first 2 games of the season. Is that, like, those are stats that are interesting. That is, quarterback stats, I think, like, or sacks rather. You want hurries, you want pressure, but you want guys to get to the quarterback. So those are 2 telling stats, in my opinion. We'll see how the defense fares against Wisconsin. Curious to see what type of weapons they have from the Badgers. But going forward, what do you think about this team, where they're at? Clearly, they got some momentum. Now ranked number 19 from number 21. We understand that Florida State is a quality team, top 10 team right now, and kind of look like a buzzsaw, to be honest. Everybody played a cupcake in week 2. So, look, I think the main things to watch right now, what's going to happen at running back now that you maybe have Jam Miller coming back? What's going to happen with wide receiver 1? Really 2, Ryan, I would say Germie Bernard is wide receiver number 1 clearly, but what are they going to do with Ryan Williams going forward? And now that you have Lotzeir Brooks kind of shining, offensive line, it looks like you have a position battle at tackle, and the defense, that they really need to step up if these guys are really going to go after the ultimate prize, which is a national championship, right? Week by week, day by day, you got to take steps forward. I appreciate you guys being here and watching the video. Please drop a thumbs up for the content, and I'll catch you as news happens right here on BAMA Football on YouTube.